At that NATO summit, 5 people are facing terrorism-related charges. Prosecutors say that these 2 men, and quite a sight they are, were planning to make or use one or the other Molotov cocktails at the protest. And in a totally separate case, 3 others are accused of plotting to attack Chicago police stations, President Obama's Chicago campaign headquarters, and the mayor's home, plus several financial institutions. Their lawyer says undercover cops entrapped them by infiltrating the group and encouraging them to make the bombs. Our senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano, is here, and you know, that's entrapment, isn't it?
Well, it's the same MO over and over and over again. You find some dope or some psychopath or somebody totally disenchanted with society. You find a group of them, you infiltrate the group, and you persuade them to talk about engaging in acts of violence. Then you provide them with what they think is bomb-making materials. It's always inert. It's never a real bomb. They begin to assemble the stuff. They utter some incendiary language as they're doing so, and you arrest them. Except this time, all of that was done by federal agents who then withdrew from the scene. And this time, these defendants are being prosecuted by the state. This is not just an academic difference. The feds do not invest the time and money and resources in an undercover operation with sophisticated surveillance and then let local Chicago prosecutors and cops prosecute it. Question. Why would the feds leave the case? Because they probably don't think there's a case here. But the Chicago folks want to make a case out of it because they want to make an example out of these kids to deter other people from expressing their political opinions in the streets.
You've got to be kidding.
That's why it was so quiet when Steve Browns was showing the tape of them marching through the streets, because people are afraid to demonstrate. They were locked up last week. They're being held on $5 million bail, which is more bail required in Chicago than for murdering someone, all because they were picked by the feds to infiltrate, and then the feds left the scene.
How does this how do we have stories like this 2 or 3 times a week and no one in the nation seems to care?
Because the American public has been deluded into thinking that when the government finds a dope and persuades the dope to say bad things and think he's assembling a bomb, and then he eventually pleads guilty, somehow we are kept safe by that happening.
That's a load of it. Somehow we are made to feel like maybe they're doing something for us, and what they're really doing is trampling on our liberty.
Correct. Correct. They're picking the weakest among us, and talking them into thinking they are breaking the law. No harm, no bomb, nobody harmed. People locked up because of the words they articulated in front of a federal agent. But this case, I submit to you, is far worse. In this case, the feds themselves said, there's no case. We're washing our hands of it. And left it to the locals, who continued to prosecute. We'll see where it goes.
And locked them up in lieu of a bond higher than a murder suspect would get.
$5 million in cash. Normally, a bond of $5 million is a bond that you buy an insurance policy for $5 million. In this case, they want $5 million in cash. It would be impossible for these kids to come up with that.
Well, this is all very impressive. Judge, thank you.
Pleasure, Shep.